Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping, and it is Wednesday, August 2nd, and where has the summer gone? Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. I'm going to visit one of our wonderful stamp sets, stamping dies. It's a whole suite that is actually in our online exclusives. It's called Irresistible Blooms and really has some beautiful flowers. So I have a couple of cards to share with you today. I have a happy note. And so we're going to work our way from a happy note, which is very easy and basic and a great way for beginners or someone who is just starting to use this stamp set to kind of get warmed up a little. And then we're going to go ahead and do they call them SIP cards, stamp, ink, and paper. We're going to go ahead and do that with some one of the new colors that came back. And then we're going to do a much more irresistible card. So, as you're coming aboard, please put your name, where you're watching from, and if you have any feedback or questions, don't hesitate to ask. And also, if you have any after the broadcast, if you are on replay, you can still sign in and ask questions. And I would love to get back to you. I'm here to help you with your stamping. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to turn this down so you can see the desktop. There we go. Okay, let me make sure that I get my computer caught up so I can take a peek at your comments. And I'm going to get out my happy note. And so I'll just remind you that happy notes are just small pieces of either basic white or very vanilla is what I use. You could certainly use any lighter colored cardstock just so you could see the ink. And then I thought we'd feature a couple of our new in color inks. I'm going to do Moody Mauve, Copper Clay, and Pebbled Path today, just to play with them a bit. And let's see, let's look at our stamp set. So this is the Irresistible Blooms stamp set. And then there is a set of dies. Oh, you're going to see a lot of them. I don't have many of them on here. I can show you on my demonstrator help thing that I did here. And then there is also a set of Hello Irresistible Designer Series paper, 48 pages of 6x6 paper. That is gorgeous, and I can show that to you as well. So let me go ahead and do that. This is one way to get a quick peek at not only the stamps, so you can see there are two different sized flowers. There's a 3-leaf, 2-leaf, and then great sentiments. And then there are die cut leaves that kind of accent the stamped leaves. There's this, I don't know, accent piece that you can cut out and then mount the colors onto something, or leave this open on your cardstock and see something underneath. There's also these really fun dots. I love splatters, dots. It always adds to what we're doing. And today I'm going to show you how I featured this die cut on the front of our card. So those are the dies and the stamps. And then this is just a quick look at the different papers. So there are 48 sheets in all, but there are 4 of 12 different patterns. And remember, each of our patterns is back to back. So literally you have 24 pieces of different paper in this set, and they're really, really pretty. So, all right, let's go ahead and do just a little happy note stamping here. So I thought I'd start with my smaller flower here, Oh wait, I decided I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this little leaf that I never used from the stamp set. And then I'm going to use hello. So I'm going to put my hello in the Moody Mauve. Oh, and very wet stamp pad. So I got to wipe the edge here. Got a little sunk in. Okay. So I'm going to kind of move this in just a little bit with the hello. Just wash it off with my little chamois over here. All right, we've got that taken care of. Then I thought I would take the copper clay and literally use this real small leaf stem that I hadn't used yet, and I thought I would kind of use 3 of them to just accent around my hello. All right. Sometimes a happy note is a good way to use a stamp you haven't used before and find out what it looks like. I think those are kind of in the air, but oh well. I'm going to make them all come together, and this is why I like the splatter and or the dot stamps that are sometimes included in our collections here. I'm going to use Pebbled Path, and I'm going to use the splatter here, but I'm going to do it as second generation stamping. I don't want this as dark as you can see this would be if I did it like this. So I'm going to stamp it off first, and then I'm going to put it on my paper. So I'm just going to continue to do this around this edge of the paper. I want to get the other leaf kind of to be included. And then I'm going to go around the very edges of this. Okay. So it looks like I planned it. Kind of use a different side of the stamp so it doesn't all look the same. So I think this is just a little something to drop in. You could put, a sentence on here. You could put their name. You could actually move this over a little bit. These could be name tags at an event, saying hello, and then put their name on here. Maybe then put the hello up further and just put 1 leaf on there. But anyway, when I play with it, I kind of get other ideas. So there's one happy note for today. Don't know if I told you, 2 1/4 inches by 4 inches. All right, I'm going to set this aside and move on to our SIP card, or stamp, ink, and paper. So I'm decided that this one I'm going to use Pretty Peacock. I was so happy when this came back. I love this color. It is gorgeous. I'm just taking a regular piece of 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 cardstock, and use my bone folder here. And we've got our card base ready to go. And I think I'm going to make this one go like this. I've got a cup, something for the card insert and for my card front. So I'm going to make a happy birthday card here. So let's go ahead and make the card insert first. Since these are cling stamps, I don't have to worry about, my Pierce mat. I can just do this right on my desktop. And I'm going to use the happy birthday from our Slim Saying set. I love this happy birthday. It goes all the way across the card, nice and big, easy to read. So I'm going to do that in Pretty Peacock. Get this open. And then since this is such a nice big stamp, I'm going to bring the ink to the stamp. I'm less likely to get the corners of this stamp when I do it this way and have rogue marks. I don't want any of those. And then I'm going to bring this down, line it up to be straight, have this be as straight as I can, and then do the happy birthday. There we go. We've got our sentiment for the inside of the card already done. All right, get that out of our way. Then I'm going to go ahead and now stamp the front of the card. And I thought that Berry Bliss would be, and I said, no, Blackberry Bliss. Blackberry Bliss would go well with this. So I'm going to start out by doing just a couple of flowers first. I'm going to do 2 sizes of the flowers. I'm going to kind of anchor this with the larger flower first. And I want to have some room for leaves on here. So we'll put it up just a little bit here. I think this is such a striking color. Oop, I don't want to do that one again, so let's just stamp this off so I can wash it. I'm going to use the smaller flower now. All right. Okay. Bring that one up here. There's our second one. Okay. All right, now I need some leaves in here, and I'm going to do those in the Pretty Peacock. So we'll just set this aside, and we've got this open. Let me find my leaves. So I've got 2 and 3 leaf stamps here. So we'll first do this one that is the 3. And now trying to line them up as close as you can. If it overlaps a little, that's all right. But if you can get them to be kind of where there's a break in the petals, that's what I aim for when I'm doing this, okay? There we go with that. And let's see where our, let's see if we can sneak the 2 leaves in between the flowers here a little bit. Well, this is gonna, it's just not quite the right angle, so I'm gonna put it along the petal instead of in the center. So it's kind of laying alongside of it. All right, and then to make this, once again, how I'm gonna use those spatters and the polka dots is to kind of hold this together, and I am going to stamp off again. And then I'm going to start more towards the edge. You can always go back, so I try to be a little lighter with it when I start doing this, because you sure can come back and add more, but you can't get rid of it. Once again, I'm going to kind of trail off over here a little later, and I think I need some right in the middle of these flowers to make that kind of seem like it goes together. And this edge needs just a little bit. Okay, so that's how I think about using splatters, polka dots, any kind of background. Sometimes it'll look just like crosshatch. Sometimes it'll be just like a shadow. But anyway, it helps hold things together. And then let's do our sentiment here. And I'm going to keep this the same color. I'm kind of, besides having the Blackberry Bliss as an accent, I'm really keeping this pretty monochromatic. I want to put this close enough to the dot so it kind of is an extension in my card design. And there we go. And then leave some white space, because that always makes things look good when you have some white space. All right. Let me close up this. And then I'm ready to just put my card together. I'm just going to use some of my multi-purpose glue here. Now, you could put dots or the splatters on the inside of this card too, and or, you know, put a flower in there. I just decided to leave the large happy birthday on its own, but you certainly can just kind of follow whatever it is that you put on the front and put it inside. Or if you're a person that likes to write more, or if you have a number of people that you want to sign this card, then it's probably better to leave it more open. All right, so there we have very simple stamp, ink, and paper. And what a pretty card. Now you could put some bling on here in the center if you wanted to, or a little wink of Stella, get a little glitter. All right, let's go to our next card. And this one I'm going to make out of Flirty Flamingo, Old Olive. I have some of the designer series paper here. We're going to actually use our mini die cut machine to cut that out. I've got some white cardstock here that we're going to use on the inside. Just a second, I need to, I want to go ahead and just score this at 4 1/4. This is also just the regular 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm scoring this at 4 1/4 for our card base. Okay, let's see who's, sorry, I haven't looked at any comments. Hi, Betty. Hi, Kathy. Nice to see you. All right, so let's just use our bone folder here. All right, we have our card front. Then let's just, now this is the one where I told you I'm going to do something different with the die. So let's, I'm going to use my large die cut machine for this part, but we'll do some die cutting on the small one in just a minute. So what I'm going to do is put this on the cutting plate. I'm then going to take this die and I'm going to add a sentiment on the bottom part of this card front. So I'm going to place this up a little higher on here. I just got to kind of watch where my edges are, and I kind of want to make sure that these 3 edges are about the same distance, and then it'll look centered. And then I'm going to go ahead and make my sandwich by just putting another cutting plate on top, and I'm going to just roll this through my cut and emboss machine here. All right, and then I'm going to take this off, and if you drop this on your desktop, if there's any little pieces stuck in there, many times they'll come out. If they don't, then you can take your pick tool. Everything came out but one. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and carefully pick this up and make sure that all the pieces that were supposed to pop out here have popped out. And it looks like, oh, one more. That came out quite nicely. So there is our front. And then these scraps, I'll actually just take this and I'll make the biggest circle punch I can out of it. I don't need to throw this away. So I'll be saving that and then getting rid of my other scrap pieces here. All right. Then we're going to do the next thing. I want to create a sentiment label. So I'm going to run that through my mini die cut machine here. And I always try to keep my dies up this way onto my desktop. Hi, Kelly. And don't drop them on the floor. You don't want to be losing those. Let's make some room here for the die cutting machine. So now we'll use our mini die cut machine here. And I'm going to get out the plates for cutting. So I have a base plate, and then I have my cutting plate that I always put on the bottom that is getting all of the cuts right now. And then I have a top plate that goes over it. Now this one I'm just going to set this label in. Anytime you have these dies that have a flat side on them, it's nice to put them a little bit at an angle. You won't hear quite as much noise, and it goes through the cutting process just a little easier. Kind of a little tip there. All right, so we've got now the sentiment label for our card. And then I want to do some, let's see here. I need to do some stamping on some white cardstock for our leaves before we cut those out. So let me just get this, and I'll need my leaf stamps. So I'm going to do these in Old Olive. Okay, so I'll get one of those. And I want to do the smaller 2 leaf one. This stamp pad needs a little re-ink, I think. I think it's time to re-ink. Oh boy. But yet there's stuff on the side of this stamp anyway. All right, I think I have that wiped off. And we'll go ahead and we'll stamp this one. Okay, set that aside. And I don't think, all right, I'm gonna just cut this a little bit because I would like to run more things than just these 2 through the die cut machine at the same time if possible. So let's see if we can get a couple things on here. I'll just set that off to the side. I'm going to put these, and I'm going to use some washi tape just to hold these in place. And remember, I always kind of put that on my clothes to get it so it's not so sticky, because I don't want it tearing the paper when I pull it off, you know, if I put the washi tape over the image. And usually I do end up doing that over the image. Okay, so we've got that one. And then let's put on this one. Yeah, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'll slide this up a little bit. I'm just matching up the die over my stamped image. Okay, and then I just put the washi tape over that. Okay, so that's part of what we're going to cut out. And then I need some of my old olive cardstock here. Let's see if we can get our 4 leaves on here. Now these, because I don't have to match up any outline, they're just on the cardstock. I don't need to put any washi tape on these. As long as I'm rolling it through, I can see that they stay on the paper. And then I always flip my plates, and that's so that they don't get curled as you're continuing to use these all the time. So let's set this here and put it on, get it started. All right. So I can take all these dies and put them up here. Now this is another time that your take your pick tool is very helpful. So we've got one of our leaves there. There's another one. This one I'm just gonna poke the centers out with my take your pick tool. Okay, we've got that one. And we'll pop out these leaves that were stamped and are now cut out. So you're getting to see a little bit of the cut emboss machine today. So this is obviously the cutting, making die cuts. All right. And then I need to just do the flower yet that I'm going to do out of our designer series paper. So I'm just going over my wastebasket and scouring that part over, but now I'm going to flip this one to make sure that I'm, you know, not going to have that plate warp on me. And I'm going to pick the flower that I want to come out of here. So I'm going to use this one right here. So I am going to go around the other things, the other images that I might fussy cut or use other die cuts around so that I don't cut them up. All right. Just set this off to the side. And you're going to see that I have a die cut on the edge here. I actually already have one of those cut. And instead of wasted, I'll show you how I'm going to use that. I'm going to use 2 images, so I already have one cut out. We're going to cut out this one together. And I'm going to, you know, move this die around until I see that it is lined up with the edge of the flower. Okay, then I'm just going to reuse my washi tape. right, that should be enough to hold that in place. Oops, I gotta set it on the cutting one. You know what, I don't know that I have. The hardest thing is trying to line these up. All right, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to put the top on and put that one through. So you can fussy cut these too. If you don't have the cut and emboss machine, just know that that's always an option. There we go. Okay, so we've got our 2 flowers. Now we're good to go. Kind of do this in stages. But you got to be able to make a room. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and let's see. We need to stamp our sentiment label. So I'm going to grab that, and the sentiment is going to be in Flirty Flamingo. So once again, I like to do the ink upside down. It's easier to see that you've got everything stamped. I can also see that I hit the edge on this one, so I'll have to wipe that off. So when I wipe it off, I just have a cloth here that I use and just go on the very edge, and you'll see it because it's shiny with the ink. All right, I think the rest of that is fine. All right, we'll line this up. I couldn't be happier to have you as a friend. So there is our sentiment. Then I'm going to use those spots on this. So let me find, let's see here. I need a little scrap paper that it doesn't matter. I'm going to actually set this against the edge, because I only want this to be getting on the card front, not the card back. So I'm going to make a line with an extra piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to go ahead, we're going to continue to use our Flirty Flamingo. And this is going to be tone on tone stamping. So I'm going to go around and, I'm probably going up to a third time to do the stamping. Then you'll get a variety of darker, lighter, way lighter. Makes it interesting. Gotta slide this down a little bit. All right, so that is one way to add interest, and another way to use the splatter stamp. We'll be able to use this on the other side, so it's not totally needing to be thrown away, obviously. All right, now we're going to, I think we're done using our Flirty Flamingo, so I'm going to close it here. All right, for the front of the card then, I told you I have this little extra piece. I'm going to just put this down here on the base, and then I'm going to overlap it a little bit with my greeting or sentiment. This I'm going to put flat onto the card, this little piece of a flower. These are also really nice just to put inside the card. If you have a little, you know, a half of a flower, a quarter of a flower that'll fit in the corner. Like I said, you don't have to throw them away. You just use them differently. Okay, I have my sentiment here that I'm going to pop up with dimensionals. I think we'll go with 3 on there. So I'm just going to center this down below the circle. So there we go with that. And now we're going to make what is really the feature of this card by putting inside. Listen, I'm not going to glue it down yet in case I do something that doesn't look the way that I want it to. All right, so now I'm actually going to do this is going to be a double layer, and you'll see why shortly. But first what I'm going to do is put down the first layer, and I need to get it inside here centered, because this is going to stick out once I do the second layer. So you'll want to make sure that you have that placed in the right place. So now, all right, I know I have that there, but let me get the glue on here. So just a little multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to center this. Okay. And now I'm going to do the leaves around it that I have die cut on the inside here. So let's start with, I can kind of lay these in here and check them out. See how I like them to look. And I'm mixing, you know, the stamped and die cut ones, and you can do a little layering if you want to with them. So as I said, I'm doing die cut stamped ones, and the ones that I just die cut out of the cardstock. So let's put down the white onto the white, and I'm going to use the colored cardstock ones to pop up a little bit more because they're more transparent. So let's kind of place that. And I just really need a couple of dots of glue, not much, onto these leaves to put them in their place. You could use adhesive paper behind this when you cut out these leaves, and then the adhesive would already be on it. So that's just another thing that you can do that's kind of easy. All right. Just a little bit of glue. You just want them to not move. No one's really gonna, there's nothing that will really get caught on these. I like it better on top here. So just hold them in place a second till they're sticky. Let's do the second one. I don't know about you, but you know, these flower sets, you can make so many different kinds of designs with them. Sometimes I use more time than I definitely anticipate because I get going with them. Oops, gotta flip this over. I'm gonna make that shorter. I don't like it so big. Remember, I'm gonna put another flower over top of this. All right. Okay, so now we're going to do the big reveal here. After I think I'm going to double check this one more time. Yep, those are where I want them to be. I'm going to glue this bottom down because then I'll be placing the popped up second flower in place with this all glued down. So I'm sure that it is coming out of the front of the card the way I want it to. So I'm going to center this. Okay. Then what I'm going to do with this card before I put it down is I am going to curl the edges, and I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm just going to go around and, you know, it's stretching the paper a little bit, curling it a little bit, because I do want it to look 3D when it's coming out of that die cut. So all right, and then I will be matching it up. Let me actually I'm going to put glue dots on the back of here, not on the edges because I want them to stay curled. So this time I'm putting my dimensionals closer to the center of the card so that, you know, it doesn't, you know, secure the sides down, and then it doesn't look so good. So we want the dimension. And that's what I love about this card. All right, and so then what you're going to do is line up all of the parts of the flower, press it down, and if it's not perfect, that's fine. But you can see, so you can even take your fingers now and crease it just a little bit more to get that edge to pop up. All right, and then if you wanted to, let me see if I have my Wink Estella here. This would be a perfect thing. Let's see if I have, just for the center, a little sparkle on this flower. There. We'll make that even a little bit more special. So, and then the bone folder here, this card doesn't want to lay flat there. I want it to lay flat on the front so that card, so the flower sticks out. So with that, we've got a little, we have our 3 cards today. We have the Happy Note, our stamp, ink and paper, and then we're using our die cuts, our designer series paper. We're using a sentiment from the, what set is this one? I believe this is the stitched rectangles, rectangle stitched framelits. I use these all the time. They're retired. I don't know if you happen to have them though. Well, they're wonderful for these labels. So, yeah, let me go ahead and I'm going to pop this up. Oh, and before I do that, I just want to remind you that if you did order and earn $5 coupons during July, starting today, you can redeem them from your emails. Now, I understand there's been a little backlog with Stampin' Up! Of getting those emails out. So if you haven't got it, just give it a little time. I understand there's a little backup. So FYI, just wanted to let you know about that. But let me go ahead and put this back around and say thanks. Thanks so much for joining me today for Facebook Live. I hope you liked the Irresistible Blooms Suite. It is available on our online exclusives in my Stampin' Up! Store. And if there's anything that I can do to help you with an order or with your stamping, don't hesitate to reach out to me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. Thanks so much. I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care and happy stamping.